This is the Hatch Restore 2. Coming in at just under $200, this is probably one of the most expensive alarm clocks you've ever seen. So why is this thing so special? Is it worth the money, and should you get one? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Nate Fear. I'm a physical therapist, and today we're going to be talking all about sunrise alarm clocks, specifically this Hatch Restore 2. Now, before we get started, I just want to say that this video is absolutely not sponsored, and I am not at all associated with this company. But as you might know, things like sleep quality and duration have big effects on pain, injuries, and your fitness goals. So I have kind of a personal and professional obsession with figuring out how to optimize sleep and improve it over time. So with that being said, let's talk about sunrise alarm clocks and why I think they're one of the most underrated sleep tools. All right, let's be honest. Having a gadget like this is by no means necessary and is not the most important thing when it comes to your sleep, your health, or your fitness. It's just not the lowest hanging fruit, and there's a lot of other more important stuff to work on first. That being said, sleep does play a huge role in all these things, and it's something that we spend about a third of our lives doing. But if you're like me and you want to go that extra mile and you have kind of a weird obsession with perfecting your sleep, this thing can be really fun. And honestly, after using this thing every single night for about a year now, I don't think I could ever go back to a typical alarm clock. So let's jump into the Hatch and talk about what this thing is and why it's kind of a game changer when it comes to sleep. Also, Hatch does have a few different models and versions of these things, so if you want to check out the one that I'm talking about here on Amazon, I'll leave a link down below. All right, so what is this thing really? Yes, it's an alarm clock, but it has a few other features and functions a little bit differently than your standard alarm. This is what's known as a sunrise alarm clock, meaning that in addition to or instead of waking up to a sound, you can also wake up to light. So the Hatch is accompanied by an app on your phone where you can customize each and every aspect of the alarms that you set. So instead of just setting a time and a sound for your alarm, you can also set a sunrise function. You can see right now we're rocking the pumpkin spice latte. So the big feature here is that you can customize the sunrise duration, which is basically how long it takes the light to fully turn on in the morning. So for example, on the weekdays when we want to wake up a little bit quicker and don't have as much time to lay around, we'll set it to 5 or 10 minutes. So that by the end of the 5 or 10 minutes or whatever you set it for, the light is fully on, and at that point the alarm sounds. So you basically get a light that slowly turns on, mimicking the sunrise, before you actually get woken up by the alarm sound. Now, this might not seem like a big deal, but I promise you it is so much more refreshing to wake up to light than it is to sound. And the thing I've noticed is that it doesn't even have to completely wake you up in order to feel better when the alarm does go off. Because if you're in a room like ours that is completely blacked out and this thing cranks up to its fullest brightness, it fills up the entire room with this really natural feeling light, just like a sunrise. And it definitely starts to pull you out of sleep as this thing is increasing in brightness. And it just makes the waking up process so much less jarring. I'm telling you, it's completely game changing to not wake up immediately pissed off because the alarm is blaring in your ear. This thing makes it feel like you almost just woke up on your own and you're ready to get the day started. Now, it's not always like that. Sometimes you do sleep through the light and you end up getting woken up by the sound anyways. But 9 times out of 10, I'm waking up a little bit more naturally a few minutes before that alarm goes off. And speaking of alarms, the sounds that you can choose in the Hatch library are so much more peaceful and calming than most alarm sounds out there. Almost all of them will start really quietly and slowly and build up over time. So it's just a much calmer way to start your day. This is the one that we currently use on weekdays. All right, so all that is great, but there's another reason why we love this thing, and that's because it can double as a sound machine. I don't know about you, but I absolutely cannot stand sleeping in pure silence. Some people love that, but it drives me absolutely crazy, and I need something in the background, whether that's a fan or a noisemaker. So another great thing about the Hatch is that it has a huge library of sleep sounds. They got white noise, pink noise, green noise, rain sounds, or our personal favorite, which is brown noise, which is this really calm, fan-like sound that you can set to whatever volume you want. You can also set it to whatever duration you want. So if you want it to turn off after an hour or halfway through the night or just go through the entire night, you're able to customize all of this. What we do is just set it to go on through the entire night and then to stop as soon as the alarm starts playing. So what ends up happening is that the light starts coming on about 5 or 10 minutes before the alarm starts. And then before you even hear any alarm sounds, usually the first thing you notice is that brown noise stopping. So most mornings you're actually being woken up by the absence of sound rather than an alarm blaring in your ear. And again, I'm telling you, this is a much better way to wake up, especially if you're used to your phone screaming in your ear first thing in the morning. So you either get woken up by the light or the noise stopping, and then you can wait for the alarm to go off, or you can just get up before it. And by the time you get up, your room is nice and bright and you're ready to go. The Hatch also has some cool things like meditations or things to listen to before bed. We haven't really utilized those too much, but they're nice features to have, and I know there's some people that use those things every single night. Also, I forgot to mention that this thing works through Wi-Fi, so you can set these alarms or modify whatever you need to regardless of where you are in the world. I actually usually forget to turn off the alarms whenever we're traveling anywhere, so I usually end up turning them off remotely from wherever we are. A couple more things to mention. So the first is that the Hatch can actually just sit around and act as a reading lamp or a clock during the day. You have the option to turn this time on or off and adjust the brightness, and you can also fully customize the color and the brightness of the resting light. And it'll just sit like that until you're ready to use it. It also has 2 dedicated buttons on the top. The first one is going to be to start your nighttime routine, whether that's a meditation or your brown noise or white noise or turning off the light. And the second one is going to be the morning routine, which is usually just turning off the alarm. To me, this is just such a good example of good software and good hardware coming into a product that's actually useful. Now again, this is by no means a necessity, and you could get by in your life totally fine without ever having a sunrise alarm clock. But again, after personally using this thing for almost a full year at this point, I think it's a really useful tool, and if it only helps 5 or 10% with my sleep, or just helps me wake up a little bit more ready to go in the morning, to me that's worth it. Now, one word of caution is that I have tried some of the cheap alternatives to the Hatch, and they are nowhere near as good. The Hatch is the OG of sunrise alarm clocks, and they definitely do it better than anyone else out there. So if you're going to invest in one, don't skimp out and get the real one. Again, this is the Hatch Restore 2. They're usually a little bit cheaper on Amazon, so I'll leave a link down below to that. So let me know what you think of these things in the comments. Is it a complete waste of money? Is it a useful tool? Will you buy one? I'd love to hear some different opinions on this. Otherwise, that's it for today. Make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below if there's anything else you want me to cover in the future, and I'll see you next video.